You got it this time. Hey guys!
How you doing?
Ashley is back. We don't have to deal with Ray today. I'm just kidding. Did you hear me on the last week's episode?
Yeah, I was like, that's fucked up. He's like my sub.
He was a good team player. But welcome back to this week's episode of Every Dirty Detail. We do have Ashley back, obviously, so it'll be back to our normal over here.
For now, sorry. Life is life, and these kids just, these sports are killing me. But I love it.
Yeah, I feel like because we don't have a fall sport, it's like calm for us in the fall.
Yeah. No, we were going to record, but I had such a headache. Like, pulsating, and it was hot that day, too.
Yeah.
It was one of those.
This weekend's supposed to be hot, too.
Yeah, I know, and it's going to drive me crazy. I think that's what it was, like, we were at her game. I already woke up with a headache. I was like, it was so hot. By the time I got home, I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, guys. You had to deal with rain. My bad.
But anyway, it is October. So happy October, everybody. This is my favorite month. We have both your parents' birthdays.
Yes.
My brother's birthday, David's birthday, and my niece was just born. So her birthday, too. She's an October baby.
She's so cute.
So we have a lot of birthdays this month. Plus, we have Halloween this month, which is my favorite holiday. And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. So trigger warning, if that's not something you can handle or it brings up bad things, this might not be the episode for you. As much as I would hate to not have you listen, this might not be it for you. So just trigger warning, don't listen to this around the kids.
Pretty much, yeah. Trust me, want to talk about so many other things.
Literally, we would be
wild
on this if we could, but...
Yeah, like, there's other podcasts that, like, but we have so many of our friends' kids that, like, listen, and I don't need, like, these girls to be like, Ariana's mom.
Yeah,
like,
same thing. My social media is full of David's friends, and I'm like, oh my god, I would never want them to hear stuff
and I feel like
that.
I'm headed on that boat with, like, Ari's, like, friends, and, like, the mom. I mean, I talk to the moms, like, we talk at these games. But, like, we want to talk about other things, and it's just so, like, it's hard.
It is, so. But nonetheless, this is definitely one of those episodes where we want to put a trigger warning because we are going to talk about domestic violence.
Yes. Very much.
So now that everyone that can't handle it has gone, let's get into it. Obviously, I have mentioned before that I have gone through a domestic violence relationship. Not only have I gone through the relationship, I also witnessed it as a child growing up, which I think is another big reason that I fell into it myself. In my house, I hate to say it, but it was like the norm. So then I fell into the same type of relationship, and I didn't leave when I should have. There was definitely times I, told myself, this is the last time, you should leave. But it takes, on average, 7 attempts at leaving before you actually leave.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. 7 attempts is like the average. Some people obviously before that, some people after. Some people don't get out at all. But yeah, on average, it takes about 7 times. For me, I went through this relationship when I was young, a very young adult. And I think at that point, I didn't know a lot of the resources that I know now. I also work for a domestic violence agency. I used to work for them full-time, but now I'm just part-time there because I massage full-time. So I didn't know that any agencies like this existed at all when I was going through it. So I didn't have any of these resources that they have now or that I am aware of now. I didn't have any of those. I just kind of dealt with it as a young adult, as a new mom. I didn't know. I mean, I've had a pillow held over my head.
Sasha.
I thought he was going to break my ankle one time. I've been cornered. I've had my hair pulled. I've had a knife pulled on me while driving. I've had, yeah. I thought he squeezed me so hard one time, I was like, for sure, oh my God, I'm gonna crack a rib. Yeah, it was bad. But domestic violence is not always physical either. A lot of domestic violence starts off as emotional, financial. That's a huge one.
Oh yeah.
Verbal abuse, all of these other things are also different forms of domestic violence, so it's not always physical. So, and I think sometimes a lot of people who experience the emotional, the verbal, the financial, it's almost a little harder for them because they don't recognize it as domestic violence all the time.
No, you don't.
You just think, oh, it's a fight. Oh, you know, because when you get into a fight, they're calling you this name and that name and insulting your looks and insulting, you know, how you parent or whatever the case may be. And they're just throwing all these digs at you and they're making you feel like you're 2 inches tall. And a lot of us just like, oh, that's just, we got into a fight. And that's...
It becomes normal.
It becomes normal, but sometimes then it leads to being physical.
Yeah.
But those are all, that's enough, that's emotional and verbal mental abuse. Like, but a lot of times you just think, oh, we just got into a fight, so, you know, he called me this name and that name, and, you know, but we're fine now. But in reality, that's not okay. Not, you don't need to be called those things when you argue.
No. I feel like too, like, it just becomes like a normal habit because then that's how you think you really are as a person. When they're throwing like digs at you and saying like, oh no, you're like ugly like this. No, your hair's ugly like that. Then you start to like look and be like, oh my God, like this person's right and stuff like that. And it's not always male. Sometimes it's a woman if you're in a relationship with a woman too, because I know someone that like her partner was a woman and there's a lot of verbal and like mental abuse after a while, and like you just start to think that that's what they're saying is what it is, like that's really true and stuff like that. I mean, I've dealt with the mental and the verbal before and stuff like that. It's never gotten like physical, but I know people that it started like that and it ended very like abusive and stuff like that. But the one thing I hate when people like just get up and go. You can't tell someone to get up and go if you haven't dealt with it and stuff like that. It's really hard for some people just to get up and go. You just, like, how many times do people tell you get up and go?
You know, get up and go, or why did you stay? Why did you stay is another huge one that a lot of people seem to think is okay to say to someone when it's not easy to just get up and go.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, where are you going to go? A lot of people, the abuser has isolated them so much to where they've cut out their friends, their family, their support systems completely, because that is what abusers do. They isolate you, so you don't have these support systems. So where are you going to go? Some people are stay-at-home parents, or they don't make enough to live on their own, so they financially depend on this person. So again, where are they going to go? Not everybody can get into a shelter program or get assistance or, you know, have someone they can stay with or run to or anything like that. So it's not just so easy as get up and go. And a lot of times the person has made you feel so worthless at that point in time that you don't even think that you're worth anything more than what they're doing to you. And so you stay. Or the cycle of abuse. Yeah, of course, they're awful. It's easy to want to get up and leave at that point. It's easy to say, I'm out, this is it, this was the last time. All of that is easy to say. But then as soon as you're about to walk out the door, that is when everything changes and you get the honeymoon stage and they're nice and they're catering to you and everything is about you and you're so perfect and they can't live without you. Or they try to, I don't want to get canceled, unalive themselves. I think I can say that.
Yeah.
They try to unalive or threaten to unalive themselves. I had that happen to me. He was threatening to unalive himself. Even made a nice cut. There was blood, not very much, but I ran to the rescue. And I'm walking over to go check if he's okay. And he kicked my feet and swung my head down onto the bed. He was perfectly fine. But that was his way to get me back to where he needed to be.
And like you said, like, that whole honeymoon stage. Oh, don't worry, it won't happen again, it won't happen again, it won't happen again. They'll do that, what, a couple weeks? Heaven forbid, like, oh, they're having a bad day, boom. Everything goes back to normal, like how it was before. It's just like a cycle and stuff like that. That's why I get annoyed when people like tell other, why didn't you just get up and leave? Like what? You can't just say that to people if you've never been there or know somebody that's been there and stuff. And I feel like with some people it's very hard for them to open up and tell someone that, like, hey, this is happening, unless like you see the warning signs and stuff like that. And even then, that's even hard to figure out with people because people don't know. Some people are really good at covering shit up.
Or, going along that lines, a lot of times the abusers, they're not abusing you in public.
Yep.
They're not going to do that in front of friends, in front of family, in front of, anyone. It's all mostly done behind closed doors. So sometimes when people come forward and they finally get the courage to say, this is what's been going on, this is what's happening. At that point, the abuser's looking great to everybody else that people don't even believe that it's happening. Or is it really that bad? Or, oh my God, I can't believe that person did that. They seem so nice. Oh, they're always,
Yeah.
They seem so great. I can't believe that was happening. And, they don't believe it because they present one way to the outside world, but the outside world doesn't see what's happening behind closed doors. And a lot of times it's not safe to just get up and leave either. And you're in the most danger when you eventually try to get up and go.
Oh yeah. I feel like when you do try to get up, that makes it worse. Like, just hearing other women's story and stuff like that, when they do try to get up and go, I feel like they get so much more enraged.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you want to leave if you have kids in all of this. Like, you want to leave with them, but, like...
There's a lot of safety planning that needs to be done beforehand.
Because I've heard women that they prepare. Like, they have steps that they go through if it's just them or if it's them and kids. Like, it's hard. There's so many different aspects of, like, yeah, they want to leave, but it's hard for them to leave.
It's just not always so simple and so cut and dry.
Yeah, people think you just grab your bags and you're out the door. Like, you don't know how this person's going to react. Like, anything. Like, even if you leave, like, while they're at work and stuff like that, and they come home and people are afraid. Like, you want to make sure nobody's going to find you and stuff like that. And like you said, you didn't know, like, you had all these other resources and stuff like that. And I didn't know a lot of that existed till, like, you started working there and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, you're not told about this as a teenager and, like, stuff like that. Like, nobody tells you.
No, I think you go over in health class, like, teen dating violence, and it's like, what, maybe a day?
Yeah.
One class or something that they go over it. It's not extensive.
No. I mean, she's only 11, but, like, kind of explaining to her, like, little things and stuff like that, like, one, obviously, like, respect your body and, like, that kind of thing, but, like, no man should, like, talk to you this way and, like, that, because, she's at that age that he has all boyfriends, not my kid.
Yeah.
No. But she's very, like, ew, thank God. But, like, you hear stories of girls when they're teenagers and their boyfriends are, like, abusive or, like, something like that, like, and then these moms don't know until, like, they finally, like, either tell the parent, and then I feel like, oh, hell, because I'm going to jail. I'm going to pop off.
And when you're young, it kind of starts off as just jealousy, and we always think, hey, they're jealous, it means they like me, or it means, they don't want me with anybody else, and, but the jealousy is not always healthy.
No.
Can lead to further things down the road.
Like a lot of things too. And I feel like too, like, when it starts off that young, I feel like these kids are in a generation that, like, I don't want to say everything's like a competition, with all of them, but like,
But it kind of is.
but it
yeah.
but it kind of is, and it's like, so I don't like saying that because I'm teaching my daughter, like, it's not a competition. Like, be who you want to be like who you are. Like, we love you for who you are, but I feel like everything is a competition now. And like you said, like, it could start with like the jealousy, but then you start seeing like, oh, well, you like so and so's photo.
Oh, social media is huge.
It's such a huge, yeah, it's a huge thing, like, for them. And
or why are you posting those types of photos? And it turns into, then it's an argument, and then you're name calling, and and then it just
it's
goes
like a whole
right,
ripple effect. It starts
down.
just going down. Like, but it's not only just teenagers, but like even with like
and just
grown
in general,
adults. Like, I know someone that's been through it, and oh my god, heaven forbid, she posted a photo and boom, he's like, oh hell no, like, and it just turned into something very drastic, and it wasn't anything like inappropriate. You can see a lot of shit online, like. So for you to like bug, like, literally a photo, like, get out of here. And like, it just turned into something that was so small, it just went boom. And stuff like that. So like, when I talked to her, it was just like how to plan, how to get out, and where she can go. And like, there was only so many that knew what was going on. And like you said, that manipulation, that they like make themselves look like they're the good person in all of this. So everybody can, that perception that they have that, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, she's crazy. And it's a whole, like, plan that you have to figure out when's the right time that you can actually leave. And some people only let so many people know what is actually going on in that household. Because most people are just like, picture perfect family. Don't believe everything on social media.
Well, and then by the time they finally do leave and they do tell people, and then you respond with, oh, they seem so nice, or oh, they seem this, and then that person now is second guessing themselves, like, oh, am I making this a bigger deal than it really is? If this person doesn't believe me, or they seem so perfect to everybody else, why do I get a different version? Like, and
or why
instead
didn't you just go sooner if it was that bad? But like,
but again, it's not always that easy. It's not always black and white like that. It's not simple, and it's dangerous sometimes.
It is. You hear so many like crazy story how bad things end up for like women or even men, because it's happened to men too. It's just like, if you've never been in those shoes, I've always been like, don't judge people for how long it took them to get out of that situation, because you don't know what was going on behind those closed doors, unless like they are confident and told you that, you just have to be that supportive friend. Like, whenever you're ready, like, yo, let's go. I'll be right up the street in that car, just like, let's go.
And that's one of the best things you can be, is a supportive person for someone dealing with that, because most of the time that's all they need, is just someone to believe them, someone to support them, and someone not to judge. Like, not judge why they're not leaving, not judge why they didn't leave sooner, not ask them why they stayed, not any of that. Just meet them where they're at. And if that's what they need your help safety plan, or if they just need you to listen to what's going on and believe them, then that's what they need in that moment, and that's the best thing you can be. And then obviously help them safety plan, help with resources. There's a lot of resources out there now, a lot more than I ever knew about, for sure. But those are all things that can be very helpful. Also too, I know you said men can go through this too, and that's something I was actually talking to Ray about the other day. He was telling me about this story. I guess, I don't know if the girl is a streamer or what she does, but she was on like a live on YouTube or something, I don't know. And she was like driving her car, and she kept like hitting her partner in his face, and he kept saying like, stop, like, you know what I mean? She kept doing it. She thought it was so funny. And I think at one point he got really mad. I think he might have grabbed her by her hair or something like that, and told her to like stop and to turn the camera off and whatever. And she got him arrested because she only showed the cops that portion of the video of him pulling her hair. and not where she was slapping him in the face. And Ray was telling me that her followers basically turned on her, and someone submitted the full video to the cops so they could see that he wasn't the aggressor in that situation. It was her. And it's so much, in my opinion, like, it's less heard of for a male to come forward about this, whether they're in a same-sex situation or, heterosexual. I think it's so much harder for them to come forward because they're even less believed.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna let your girl or other men to them you're gonna let your girl do that, or oh my god, it's embarrassing, your girl kicked your ass, or whatever the little comments they make. But in reality, it's not okay for a woman or if you're on the same
for
sex,
anybody
to do that to you. It's not okay. And there was another incident. I think was she a basketball player? The one in the airport? I can't remember if she was a basketball player or
I think
she was someone semi-famous, I think. But she was in the airport, and I think she punched her partner or husband, whatever he was, in his face.
Jesus Christ.
And she was super aggressive, and she was caught on camera with it and everything too.
You just never know. You just really never know who it is, or doesn't matter male or female and stuff like that. You just, like we said, you just have to be supportive if they come to you in confidence, and not because it happened to one of my friends, and I was kind of told towards the end when she was able to get out of it, but everyone else was oh, we're trying to just get her to go to the police so she can just get a restraining order and get out. And I feel they have to be ready. Like you said, there has to be a plan, because they don't want it to get worse than what it needs to. You're about to light a fire if you're doing that. And when she told me, I was more just, I felt so bad, but then you get so enraged, what the fuck kind of thing. But I just let her let it out. Let it out. You want to cry, you want to scream, girl, you want to smash a pumpkin with a bat, whatever I can do for you to just let it out, because you don't know, even if it's just mental or verbal abuse, you just don't know. I can't even tell you how many times I've caused Sasha crying. And I think I probably repeated myself how many times. But she'll let me just let it out. And I've just learned, I did that with one of mine, and she just needed somebody to tell her I'm here for you, and whenever you're ready, you just let me know, because you just never know with people. That's just how it is. You're just never gonna know until they feel confident and trust you. You can't just be let's go to the police station, because that triggers a lot.
And they might not be ready for that. They also, yes, a restraining order is great to have. Sometimes they're not as easy to get as you would think, though. And
how many times have you guys seen, does that person put a restraining order on somebody
and they don't care?
Yeah, how many,
the person breaks a restraining order.
Yeah, and it gets to a point that it shouldn't, and I feel there should be more stricter protocols when it comes to these restraining orders. I don't know, I think there's only, some of them have only a certain time frame or something like that. You just hear so much. I watch way too much True Crime and all these other shows, but a lot of them that I've watched documentaries and stuff, they have restraining orders, and they'll follow it for so long, but that person gets to a point that they snap and they don't care about no restraining order.
No.
And that's just it. And I feel they need to be better with that, either with the restraining orders and keeping up with that kind of thing.
Mine had a restraining order, broke the restraining order, went to jail, called me from jail while still having a restraining order.
See?
Yeah. Like I said, though, they are great to have, obviously. It is also a paper trail in case anything does happen further. But, yeah, it's just not a cut and dry thing. It's not easy. especially if you depend on the person financially, and then they refuse to give you any type of money, or they're monitoring the money and where you're spending things, and it's just not easy. Like, you know, I've heard stories of people who, you know, they're using their partner's credit card for grocery shopping or whatever, and they've gotten like $20 here, $20 there, cash back, to not make it known that they're taking money out to stash away to then eventually get away.
It's hard. It's hard for people. I think we should be kinder if anyone you know has went through it or is going through it. Because if you've never been in those shoes, whether it's physical, verbal, mentally, financially, you just never know. And I think if you have someone that comes to you, listen. Don't judge and be like, you need to do, no, don't do that.
Yeah, it's always easy to give this advice when you've never been in the situation.
That right there, queen. That right there.
So, but that
fun.
was a heavier episode. We just,
my anxiety's like,
mine's a little too.
I want to cry.
We didn't want to go too crazy today because we don't have a lot of time, but I definitely wanted to touch upon this because it's such a big thing that I believe in, and especially this month, it's all about raising awareness. So I don't know if we'll get stories or anything else that we'll share. We possibly might do another episode, but I really just, you know, wanted to touch base on this subject to raise a little bit of awareness because it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we definitely want to do that. Again, sorry this was a little bit of a darker episode, but
shout out to all the queens that have beat breast cancer.
Yes, that too.
You guys are so admiring dealing with all of that. I know a few women that have gone through it and they're survivors and they are cancer free. So shout out to the women that are fighting.
Actually, yeah, we could do an episode on that because I have 3 clients that I'd want to see if I could share their stories about,
and someone that we know that's very close to us. You probably didn't know.
No, I didn't know.
Oh, okay. But yeah, shout out to those queens because, you know, having to deal with like the chemo and all that, like radiation and stuff like that. But shout out to them because the journey, I couldn't even imagine. I know a few people, but that journey is hard and they come out on top and they end up being cancer free. So shout out to those women and anyone that has lost anyone to breast cancer and stuff like that. But yeah, shout out to those queens because that shit is not easy.
No. And if you or anybody else is dealing with a domestic violence relationship, involved in one, witnessing one, have questions or anything, I work for New Hope Inc. We are in Massachusetts though, so if you're watching from outside of Massachusetts, you can hop on the internet. There's national domestic violence hotlines, and then most places have their own like shelter programs or other type of domestic violence programs that you can Google and get their information for as well. There's safety plan advocates, counseling services, like I said, shelter programs, a lot of different things that can help people dealing with domestic violence. So definitely look that up in your area and have those hotlines on hand for people.
Or if you need a confidant or talk to someone,
we are also here.
We are not going to judge. We are not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do or are not ready for. If anyone out there that's watching, message either one of us.
Pass this along to your friends, family, loved ones.
You're not alone. So yeah, if anyone just needs to talk, me and Sasha are here.
Yes. And other than that, we'll be back next week.
Bye
guys.